Heading southwest along the highway from Bathurst in New South Wales, you hit the town of Blaney. It's got a pharmacy, a post office, pubs and restaurants, and until recently, 2 major banks.
How often would you use the bank branch here?
Probably at least 3 times a week, and that includes paying bills.
National Australia Bank has already closed. The Commonwealth Bank will shut in June.
We can get a limited amount of change from the post office, but then other than that, I guess they'll have to go to Bathurst or Orange, which is like half an hour drive either way.
Tammy Mobbs works at a bakery on the main street of Blaney. Her older customers are hesitant about their ability to do all their banking online.
Some people still don't have internet to their house. We haven't had the FPOS facility for very long, but since we've had it, people struggle even with the tap.
30 kilometres on the other side of Orange is Molong, and the last bank branch here is slated to close in June. It's a decision that won't only affect this town, but residents across the Shire.
The online petition now has 1,166 signatures. So, we've just got to fight harder.
They've tried it in other branches and it hasn't worked.
Mayor Kevin Beattie has taken that fight to the top of the Commonwealth Bank, holding talks with its boss, Matt Common.
Instead of just a straight closure, is there an alternative? Can we have the branch open for a couple of days a week, 3 days a week? Share that with Blaney.
The Commonwealth Bank has told the ABC there's been a 45% drop in transactions at its Molong branch over the past 5 years.
They're saying that they're taking into consideration COVID, but I also raised the point that prior to COVID, we've just gone through 3 years of drought. We weren't directly affected by the fires here themselves, but we were affected by smoke. A lot of our wineries lost their crops last year through smoke taint.
Farmers in a drought, they do not spend money. They don't come into the bank. Because simply they're there day in, day out, feeding livestock.
Now the drought has broken and COVID restrictions have eased, Molong's enjoying a surge in tourists.
Since people haven't been able to travel overseas, they're coming through the west here and they're staying. Definitely a lot busier now. Not having the banks is going to be a big hassle for me.
The head of the bank lobby says branch closures no longer signal a town in decline as they once did.
What we're seeing now is more than half the branches that are closing are in the middle of capital cities or major regional centres where there's population growth. So this isn't about population decline, it's about a really big shift in how customers are accessing their banking services.
Unions argue the shift has been accelerated by branch staff redirecting customers to digital services.
That actually has had targets imposed on them in reducing the number of over-the-counter transactions and migrating or transferring their customers to digital platforms. So if they didn't do that, then their job was on the line.
The finance sector union says more than 300 branch closures have been announced since January last year, costing about 1,300 jobs.
Wherever they can, banks are redeploying staff into call centre functions. And technology has meant that doesn't mean you have to drive 100 kilometres from your town to the nearest call centre to keep your job. Now it's possible for people to do call centre work from their own home.
With services now at the touch of a button, there's more opportunities for challenger banks to take customers from the established players.
It's easier for the customers now to think about, I don't have to be that lawyer anyway, I've got a better options or more options in front of me.
Back in Blaney, residents are worried loyalty to local businesses will also fade if people travel to Orange for face-to-face services.
You go in there for one thing, you might as well spend half a day in there and do what you got to do.
The local shops miss out and the town just goes backwards.
As banking moves forward into the future.